It's Friday. I'm a few minutes late, so I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties. Man. Woo! James is pumped up. I know I am pumped up. One Pride, let's go, brother. Yes. Man, normally I have some topics, some discussion. I'm just going to freelance this show. No topics really, nothing special. Just I'm going to do some little Q&A. I want to talk a little bit about the draft. I also want to bring up, I have a new mock draft coming Tuesday. So a lot of you really liked the new draft format. It was really good. Keys, what's up, bro? Oh God. Got lots of love. I got some negativity, but I got lots of love. The way it works out is that I do my draft on a spreadsheet, and then I make the video, and I'm still working on it. I do have a special treat for you on this draft. A player is going to be traded draft day. A player is going to be traded. So, Keys, you and Gooch definitely want to pay attention to this trade. I'm not going to say who it is, but I will say this. You and Gooch definitely want to pay attention to this trade. So I'm not going to tell you. It's a good one. It's a good trade. It's a really good trade. I'm trying to figure out the details because I'm going to actually dive into the details because it's something kind of out of left field, but I think that I think it's a good trade. I will say this. I will say this. The player talked about being traded. So, boo does that. I'm not going to say. You have to wait till Tuesday. I hate the NFL, Dan. I think I made a bad bet. I betted someone $100 Chiefs would take a wide receiver in the first round. I have been mocking a wide receiver to Kansas City. And I like it quite a bit. The Chiefs signed Rick James. It's actually Richie James. So they signed Richie James from the Giants. He may not even make the team, to be honest with you. He has some special teams ability. He's not a bad player. I like the guy. I don't know how much of a fit, but I've been mocking a wide receiver to Kansas City, and they have a lot of draft capital. So in my latest draft, I had the Chiefs trading up with New England, which traded down from 14 to 19. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Jeffrey Simmons. He might be the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. Next year, he may be the best. Titans did a really good job. And in my latest mock draft, I had Lucas Van Ness going to Tennessee because I was thinking Lucas Van Ness, Simmons, Harold Landry comes back from injury. That's pretty formidable. And Lucas Van Ness to Tennessee at 11 makes a lot of sense. And Simmons is a monster. Such a good player. I really think he can play an even. I'm going to start, instead of going 3-4-4-3, I'm going to start calling it even and odd fronts. But Simmons, I think, can do both. How they use him in Tennessee is just amazing. So, Dan, there was a list out on Twitter of team total wins, +1 score losses for 2022. I'm very interested in delving into the list, seeing how relevant the numbers are for 2023. Wins, 1 score losses. That is kind of interesting. The over-unders were released last week from Caesars, and there's 3 teams I would put money on today. Somebody I respect already put action on. I believe it's under 5.5 for Arizona. And I think that number, after he put the bet down, that number's been free falling. Wouldn't surprise me. I haven't looked this last week. Wouldn't surprise me if that hits 5, maybe even 4.5. But there's 3 teams that I would strongly recommend betting on. One of them's Kansas City, which is 11.5. The reason why is the Chiefs over the last couple of years have been able to hit 12 wins, and I think they'll hit 12 wins again this year. So that's a good one. I'm not going to be able to do it before the draft. I'm not sure when exactly, but I am going to do a video breaking down the over-unders for all 30. I might just wait till after the 4th of July where I start doing the teams, and then just wait and do the teams individually. But yeah, it's going to be I can't wait to get your opinion on it, because it's going to be a good trade. It's going to be an unexpected trade. I'll say that, because I'll break down the trade in the video. You gotta wait till Tuesday. Hopefully, the video came out a couple hours late. It took a little longer to do the editing. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to do my draft, and I can work backwards. I can go from pick 31 to 7. I can go 1 through 5, and then I get stuck at 6. I get stuck at 6 with Detroit. I can do 4 different positions. I can do several different players. But when I do my draft, I come to a complete stop at 6, and that's been my tough one. Dan is the secret insider. He always told us some players are going to get traded before it happens on draft. Yeah, I'm predicting a draft day trade, and I'm not going to say who it is, but I will say this: Keys, you and Gooch definitely want to pay attention to this one. You definitely want to pay attention to this one. I'm seriously, God, I mean, I love Chris Jones, but I'm kind of a homer. I might put Simmons over Jones. I think he's that good. But you have to understand, they ask the players to do different things. Jones primarily is, go after the quarterback, and with Simmons, they ask him, stop the run. It's not really a fair comparison between the two, because if you look at stats, numbers, metrics, it'll be Chris Jones. But you can make an argument that Simmons has a bigger impact on the game. You can make the argument. I'm a homer, and I love Chris Jones. I was a big Chris Jones fans when he was coming out of Mississippi State. He played with Dak. That was actually a fun Mississippi State team to watch. They had Dak Prescott as quarterback, Chris Jones on the other side. To tell you the truth, the Simmons versus Jones argument's a good one. I don't know. I really don't know. But I have a big man crush on Jeffrey Simmons, and I thought Tennessee signing him to a long-term deal was very smart. Really good move by Tennessee. I'm with you, One Pride. I actually thought the trade would already have happened, and I'm a little confused on why it is taking so long, because we got less than 3 weeks. We are less than 3 weeks. It's actually 20 days till draft day, and I really thought that this would go already have been concluded, because both Green Bay and the Jets really. And let's just say take the first pick off the board. All right. You know what? I could pull it up, but I believe it's 40 and 41. The Jets had 2 second-round picks. They traded to Cleveland. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The Ole Miss wide receiver. Really love that guy coming out of Ole Miss. Drawing a blank on his name. They traded him to Cleveland so he can get an extra second-round pick. So it looks like it's going to be like 2 second-round picks, maybe a second, next year's third. I don't know. But I'm kind of leaning towards that the 13th overall pick in the draft is going to be off the board. and Green Bay, but Green Bay's going to have extra draft capital. But I'm with you. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's just Green Bay's wanting more. The Jets are not wanting to give up enough. It'll be very interesting. I'm really excited to see it happen. It's going to happen soon. It may be 19 days from now. It will. It should happen draft day, or it should happen before draft day. Dude, this is awesome. That would actually be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Joe Thurney to the Bengals. That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. I would love it. Jones is very good against the run, but like in the Chiefs style of defense, they his job is primary. Let me rephrase it because it's easy to get this twisted around. Simmons has more run stopping responsibilities than Jones. That's factual, and that's kind of let's just do that. Let's just do that. I don't want to get myself turned around, but yeah. The Rodgers deal slasher, welcome brother, will happen after. Okay, well, here's the thing. I thought it happened before because you got the draft coming around, and Green Bay and New York have to make moves in the draft. So I'm thinking that it's going to happen before the draft. But by the way, your Eagles, I'm having all sorts of. God, I don't know if I should say anything because I want you guys to watch it, but I think I could do this, and I think it'd be fair. I got the Eagles doing some creative stuff in my latest draft. So here's the funny thing. I actually have my draft ironed out almost completely. I'm really stumped on pick number 6. Pick number 6. I seriously, I may put everything on a dartboard and just throw a dart. But I have some fun stuff for Philly. In this latest draft. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. The more I hope you do. I hope you know. Don't say anything because I'm going to wait. It's going to be fun. God damn it, Keys. All right. So I do think we need. Yeah. Jalen. Here's the thing. I have Jalen Carter going to Seattle at 5. Okay, I'm going to do this real fast. I'm going to explain something about the NFL draft and something that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it makes sense to NFL personnel. And hopefully I can do a good enough job in explaining it. If you got a player on 10 plays, does one thing that's extraordinary, but the other 9 plays aren't that good, then you got player B who 10 out of 10 plays does something good. Most NFL teams want the guy that takes 1 out of 10. And the reason why is most NFL coaches think that they're better than college coaches and they can get that 1 out of 10 performance 10 out of 10 times. Where the player that's consistent, you're like, I know I can do that, but that's why you see so many athletes get drafted higher. There's also a lot of off the field stuff that goes on. Edgerrin James visited the Saints, and Mike Ditka said he shook his hand and he had a weak handshake, so he said he wasn't going to draft him. Randy Moss met with Dennis Green. Dennis Green talked to him and said he had a really good, feeling about Moss, and he said, "Hey, listen, if you're available, is it 21? I think it's pick 21 just off the top of my head. Because you're available at 21, we're going to take you." He didn't trade up for him, even though he was a top 5 player because of the off-field stuff. But he had a conversation. Jerry Jones wanted to draft Randy Moss, but there was I think it was Michael Irvin had some off-field issue or whatever. But you never know. You never know. That may not be the guy, though. I've never seen a pick change for a team so much like Eagles versus corner, then DE, then Bajan, Carter, now it's OT. Seriously, 10 and 30 is going to be a lot of fun. 10 and 30 is going to be a lot of fun. I have the Eagles doing some crazy stuff in this latest draft. So Just draft Van Ness or trade down for some extra compensation draft branch, get it over with. So in my latest draft, I don't know if you had Slasher, by the way, in the description below, if you haven't already, check out my latest mock draft. I'll spoil it for you. I go 10 and 12 because I have I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm so embarrassed about this. I'm not doing good today. I had Tyree Wilson sliding. So I did a 10-12 trade. The Houston Texans jumped up to 10 so they could draft Tyree Wilson. And then at 12, I had Nolan Smith going to Philly, which makes a lot of sense because he's almost a clone of Hassan Reddick. And Reddick, when his contract's up in 2 years from now, you may not be able to pay him because you're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts. So, and I didn't touch base on that in the video. 30, I had them taking Drew Sanders, kind of a poor man, Micah Parsons. I said Sanders, but Micah Parsons, Drew Sanders, Micah Parsons. And I thought Philly could have a lot of fun in the front seven. So, oh my God, I got Hey Girl TV. Oh my God, what's up? She says, please give a thumbs up. I love Hey Girl TV. She's married though, guys, unfortunately. Not to me, for some weird reason. Osiris Torrance. I can't tell you how much I love Osiris Torrance. I can't tell you how much I love Osiris Torrance. Seriously, if he's available at 30, it would be a great pick. It would be a great pick, and Philly loves drafting offensive linemen and trading down. So. Jack Campbell is one of my favorite players in the draft, and I'm not just saying this to try to get on your good side, but Jack Campbell, if you're not aware, tall, rangy linebacker out of Iowa. This is a guy, I think he's going to go to a team. I haven't had him mocked in the first round yet, but he's a guy I think is going to go to a team, start, and as a rookie have like 125 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 2.5 sacks, and just be like not make the Pro Bowl. he's going to be a guy that I mean, the Chiefs really don't need a linebacker, but he's one of my favorite players in the draft. I love Jack Campbell, and I haven't mocked him in the first round yet. But there's several teams that could really use him. I think when I talked about that stat line, I could see him going to the Giants in round 2 and just being a stud on that defense. I mocked that in my latest mock. I had a flip 18 and 23, and then at 23, Detroit takes Kancey, and I like that. Let me ask you this one, Pride. Kancey at 6. I mean, you may not be able to get him at 18. So I really do. I really do. If you want to know where Dan likes the thumbs up, you got some. And by the way, Keys does the $99.99 a month for the premium content. He knows it's worth it. He knows it's some good stuff. Why aren't you all subscribed? All right, okay. I'm not doing an energy drink because I slammed one a couple hours ago, so I'm just doing coffee. So one Pride. I seriously have my mock ready to go. I am stumped at 6. I really am. I could actually go backwards. I can go 31-7. I can go 1-5. At 6, I can go 4 different positions, several different players. And I just I seriously I can't make up my mind. And by the way, it's that. And then I've been going over different trade scenarios. I've been going over multiple trade scenarios, and I'm stumped. I've been doing Devin Witherspoon to Detroit at 6, and I like that, and I think Dan Campbell likes Witherspoon, but out of a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like at a 3 liking it. And there's been I've gotten some hate too. So, but I mean, and by the way, look at all my mock drafts. I've mocked different positions. I mean, I'm serious. I could make my video on the draft right now, except for Detroit at 6, and that's kind of like that's really like what's holding up my draft. And then I'm going to try to use new clips. I'm going to try to use different clips than I used in my last video. Some of them may be the same, but I'm going to try to use different ones. Drew Sanders was nice on tape. I have some issues with Nolan Smith. He was injured just about his whole college career. He's small, and I don't see production, even though Georgia does rotate their defense. Okay, so here's the deal with Nolan Smith, and here's why I like Nolan Smith going to Philly. Hassan Reddick's going to be on year 2 of a 3-year deal. He's built almost exactly like Hassan Reddick. And bottom line, you're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts. All right? Who's your replacement? Well, you got one. And you're probably, and here's another thing. Let's just say he pans out. Hassan Reddick is a good trade piece. A guy who has 17 and a half sacks. Yeah, that's something that people want, and he can play in multiple defenses. He's not really a 4-3 type of guy, but you can have some fun with it. So Nolan Smith reminds me a lot of Hassan Reddick, and I also like the fact that you sign him, you don't worry about Brandon Graham next year. You don't try to re-sign him at all. You hope that he retires, but more than likely he leaves. So, but yeah. And Drew Sanders, I kind of think that, Drew Sanders, a team like the Giants, a team like Philly, trying to think of really Giants and Philly kind of stand out as teams that could have a lot of fun with Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders on Philly, because like he doesn't have to play a position. That's why, like at Philly, he could be a defensive end. You can use him at middle linebacker. You can have so much fun with that kid. I think on a team like Philly, he like could be like a Micah Parsons type player, and I think that's what you're looking at. I'd like to see a team use Drew Sanders like Dallas uses Micah Parsons. I think Philly could do that. I think it'd be a lot of fun, even though I'm drawing a blank on who their new defensive coordinator is. I shouldn't. Yeah, they're going to use them. Yeah, they're going to use them just like because I can't even think of who the defense coordinator is. Don't get Lions probably drafting Tyree Wilson. He's healthy off his foot fracture. Will be an instant help and run defense. He can play anywhere on the line. I've been thinking the same thing. And here's the deal: the Houston Texans love drafting players from the state of Texas, and Tyree Wilson to the Houston Texans, I think they want it to happen. So I was trying to figure out a 12-6 trade. It's been hard. I could also see the Lions taking Tyree Wilson, but the foot injury really bothers me. I have a hard time. I've been really struggling. Tyree Wilson, okay, my last mock, I had him dropping to 10, and then I did a 10-12 trade. And the reason why Philly wants to do that is because they get a 2024 pick from the Houston Texans, and they're hoping it's a high draft pick. Probably not first, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Philly loves getting that draft picks, and you go from 10 to 12. I mean, it's a good move for both teams. It's a win-win. In my draft, I just did trades. I didn't break down the trade compensation. For the player that I have traded Tuesday, I am going to break down the trade compensation because I have that in my head. I'm still tweaking it, but I have the main, down. So Jason Peterson 8. No, I want to know what you guys think. Yeah. There is big risk with Kancey. I think if you drafted Kancey at 18, or in my mock where you trade with Minnesota and you get him at 23, that's a great spot. But if you draft him at 6, I would be nervous because he's not Aaron Donald. I mean, I know there's some similarities, but he's really not. I've been mocking Witherspoon, and I like it. It's just that when I keep watching film on Witherspoon and watching film on other corners, and I'm like, at 6. Well, here's the drill. I have not mocked a quarterback to Detroit at 6. Now, I personally think, and I've been saying this a lot. I think the Colts are really interested in Richardson. I think when everything's said and done, I think the Colts and Cardinals are going to flip picks, and I think Richardson will go to the Colts at 3. Yeah, Gardner Minshew, that would be a perfect spot. I would actually love to see Tampa Bay just say, hey, we're going to trade up to 3. We're going to draft Anthony Richardson. I would love to see Anthony Richardson go to Tampa Bay, learn behind Baker Mayfield for a year, play like, 2-point conversions or some crazy stuff. That I think it would be a lot of fun. But I ultimately think he's gone to the Colts. If he gets by 4, if he gets by the Colts, Anthony Richardson, I think there's a strong possibility Anthony Richardson could go to the Lions at 6. I really believe that because I don't think Seattle's going to draft a quarterback at 5. And if they do, the guy who I like would be Hendon Hooker, but I have a hard time believing Seattle at 5 is going to pass up Jalen Carter. That's kind of the way I see it. So I wouldn't mind Spoon just a sign that we have a good front office. Everyone is clueless. I've been mocking that the last 2, but I'll be honest, the more I think about, the less I like it. All right. So my alarm on my computer is letting me know that my show is ready. All right. So good. I like Smith. He's got good upside, just too many negatives. I just think Reddick is an outlier. Not too many edge rushers that small pan out in the league. I would rather take Sanders or Van Ness. Well, the thing is with Hassan Reddick is he went to a bad spot in Arizona. They were going to use him at inside linebacker. That didn't work. They tried, use him in different ways. And it wasn't until I think it was Chandler Jones who got hurt when they were going with an even front. They just plugged him in and it just clicked. Really what he does really well is he plays defensive end really well in an even front, a 4-3. Even though he's like 240 pounds, he's a strong dude. He doesn't have length, but he's really strong. He's fast. He's got great hands, and that's what he does well. And I think Nolan Smith can do a lot of those things. But bottom line, the problem is with Hassan Reddick is that you have to figure out how you're going to pay Hurts. And I'm looking at Reddick. That's kind of the guy that you got to take one or the other, and you're not taking Hurts. So that's kind of why I like Nolan Smith there. And if you notice the way Philly does things is they draft a player and he's going to be the replacement. And that's really the way you're supposed to do it. That's really the way you're supposed to do it. So, yeah. I'm all. Oh, man, I got Denver Gator. Oh, man, what's up? But Denver Gator, man, I am so glad to see you, brother. I am so glad to see you, man. Gator gets love, man. And, why not? AR, I really think the Colts are going to take him, and I think they're going to trade up to 3. I've been mocking that. I hope the Raiders draft a 3rd-round linebacker in the first. Tyreek Stevenson, I like this kid a lot. About 6 foot, 210, 215. He can run. He's physical. I think that on the right team, he's a good corner. I'm kind of interested because I've been seeing him going in the 3rd round, and I think this is a decent corner draft. So I'm kind of curious where he's going to go. I could see him going late in the 2nd. Here's the thing. I wonder if there's a team that's looking at him and saying, I want you to play safety. and not corner. And I'm kind of curious if there's a team that's looking at him and saying, I want you to play safety. And it would be kind of interesting. Trying to think off the top of my head. I was going to say the Giants. That might be a team that won't. But if you're saying if the Giants drafted him in the second, I could see the Giants wanting him to play corner. But I could see a team. I could see the team like New York saying, "Hey, look, we're gonna have you play free safety because Wink Martindale would like use them, move them all around, and that would be a good fit." Baltimore in the second round would also be a good fit. I think Baltimore could play him at corner. That would be fun. Yeah. Anthony Richardson. You got Gardner Minshew there for a year. You tell Gardner, here's what I do if I'm the Colts and I draft Anthony Richardson. I go up to Gardner Minshew and I say, listen, you do a good job. We'll after this is done, and he'll start, but we'll give you a 3-year, $25 million deal to be the backup. He's a running quarterback, so you may be able to play a little bit. We'll work something out that if you want to leave, we'll trade you to a team that you want to go to. But I throw that out there. I throw $25 million out there to Minshew, and I say, look, we're going to give you a 3-year 20, which is a high end second string quarterback deal. And I say, look, just work with the guy. Make sure he stays out of trouble. I mean, he's only 20. So like he's going to get that big contract. I mean, how many of you would handle, $15, $20 million signing bonus well at age 20? You tell Minshew, look, just keep the kid out of trouble. Don't take him to club. Just take him under your wing, and you do this. We'll 3-year, $25 million. We'll give you trade clauses. We'll make it fully guaranteed. We'll do whatever you want. And that's what I would do if I'm the Colts if I draft Anthony Richardson. I tell Minshew, hey, listen, just help this guy out. We'll give you $25 million guaranteed, and if some team beats it, we'll let you go. That's what I do. So, yeah, the Raiders are kind of an interesting move at 7. I mocked them Christian Gonzalez, and I really thought a lot of people would hate that, but there was I didn't get any negative remarks on the Raiders taking Gonzalez, which makes a lot of sense. So, oh man, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to. Denver Gator texted me about this, and I'm jealous as hell. So I kind of want to move down there too. Like I want to be Denver Gators' neighbor. I think that would be awesome. Oh my God, I got Luke G in the house. So here's the deal, Luke. They got Draymond Jones, who's a defensive tackle. They got rid of 2 of their starters. They got Draymond Jones, somebody else. Their 2 edge rushers are actually pretty good. I know one's a free agent. So I was thinking Tyree Wilson because like they're using a multifaceted defense. I was thinking a guy like Tyree Wilson, but if I'm Pete Carroll, I'm just saying to myself, I can make Jalen Carter work. I can get the most out of Jalen Carter, and I'd like to know your opinion because I know. By the way, folks, if you want to know like draft coverage, you want to see some good shit, go to Luke G Field Review. I love how Luke G breaks down players. I haven't gone to your channel and watched it. You know the deal, Luke. It's been kind of hectic on the home front. I've had some weird shit going on lately, but you tell me. Just tape alone. Forget off field, combine. Isn't Jalen Carter the best player in the draft? Just on tape, on the field. Because I think he might be. And if I'm Seattle, I'm at 5. I'm Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's an old school defensive coordinator. I'm thinking I can unlock Jalen Carter if I'm Pete Carroll. That's why I like it. That's why I like it. But they could. I forget which one. So they got two pretty good edge rushers. They did pretty good on the defensive front last year. But one of the pass rushers is a free agent. I'm drawing a blank on which one is a free agent after the year. So it does make sense because I've been thinking Tyree Wilson. I've been kind of thinking about that as well. Yeah, he is better in run defense, but Short went to University of Pittsburgh. People kind of draw. I wonder if he played at I don't Michigan State. Take your school. If he played at Michigan State, would you be drawing the same comparisons? And I don't think you would. I really don't think you would. He reminds me more of Ed Oliver, who was drafted, I think 8th or 9th overall. I can't remember. I think 8th by Buffalo. And he's just been a guy. He's just been a guy. Yeah, I am so jealous of Denver Gator, and I kind of like if you have a neighbor who's moving out, will you let me know? Because I want to. It sounds awesome. I'm actually curious about that myself. It was kind of quiet. Denver tried to kind of sneak that in, but he's. It's funny because I actually have liked. This is going to sound messed up. I think he's done a good job drafting, but the players haven't panned out. And the Russell Wilson move, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. But I think that he has had some good moves. He brought Manning there. He's responsible for that Super Bowl. And I like some of the moves that he made. They just did not pan out. I like drafting Jerry Jeudy at 15. He was my number 3 player. I had him above CeeDee Lamb. It hasn't panned out. Why? I don't know. I liked hiring Fangio. I really did. I thought it would work out. He's a great defensive mind. It didn't work out. So. If Will Anderson, So here's I got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 quarterbacks, and then if I'm Arizona, I'm sitting at 4. I have to take Will Anderson because he would have gone number 1 in last year's draft, and I think Arizona's just hitting the self-destruct button. I think that they're just going to say, hey, Kyler Murray's going to play around October or November. We're just going to have the number 1 pick in the draft. Somebody's going to trade a boatload of players, and we're just going to worry about 2024. That's kind of the way I look at it. So if I'm Arizona at 4, I take Will Anderson, and the reason why is I say, look, we're just going to build this defense around Will Anderson. Now, I could also see Arizona going from 3 to 4 and then going 4 to wherever. Maybe Detroit. I can tell you John Dorsey. By the way, I deleted the message because he said some other beta shit that I didn't like, but he was right. John Dorsey's not the assistant GM. He has a different title, but it's like semantics. He's probably the number 2 guy there, whoever the assistant general manager there. John Dorsey's probably it wouldn't surprise me if John Dorsey said something and Brad Holmes said something and the owner's like, well, we might go with Holmes. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the situation. But anyway, some guy brought that to my attention because I kept on calling him the assistant GM. And I'm like, okay, you're right. But he also said some other beta shit in the comment that I just deleted it. Usually I let you disagree with me. I don't mind if you disagree with me, but you can do some name calling and by the way, Luke G wants to do some name calling. One Pride wants to do some name calling. Funk wants to do some name calling. Keys wants to do some name calling. Denver Gator wants to do some name calling. My girl, Hey Girl TV wants to do some name calling. I don't mind. But if you're somebody I don't know, and the first thing I see is talking, being a little disrespectful, no, I don't have to post your shit on my channel. I don't see it. No, he's been. I remember years ago there was like a John Elway dealership and like John Elway McDonald's and like John Elway everything. Yeah, and I think this is smart for Denver just to okay, it's a new era. It's a new era, so I think it's good. Stevenson, yeah, He's a guy that I'm curious if there's a team that drafts him and says, I want you to play safety. I know Kansas City just signed Mike Edwards, a guy that I really like, but I could see Kansas City drafting a guy like Stevenson and saying, hey, look, we're going to play at free safety. I could see that. I love Jared Goff, but we've drafted Richardson to have him sit for 2 years, and we lose to Goff. Yeah, I 100% could see that, except that. So here's a drill. If you draft a quarterback, number, let's just say 6. Let's just say 6. Anthony Richardson to Detroit at 6. I don't know if you can sit him for 2 years. I think you got to have some fun with him year one. You got to do like some short yardage situations. You got to do some 2-point conversions. Have him come in and like line him up at wide receiver. Then year 2 comes around, he almost has to start. It used to be, Aaron Rodgers sat, I think, for 2.5. And to be honest, it should be. I have a hard time believing that teams would do that. Let them just sit for 2-3 years. If Anthony Richardson is put in a situation where he has to start this year, I really believe his career may just self-destruct. I really believe that. I really believe out of all the quarterbacks in the draft, I want Anthony Richardson to sit. Like, I want him to play like less than 20 plays, maybe 30 plays. I mean, you could do like a 4th and 1 package. I could have some fun on 2-point play where he just rolls out and, just to get him used to the NFL speed. But I don't know if you can have a guy. I don't know if you can draft a guy 6 overall and have him, have him sit for 2 years. I don't know if you can do that. It would probably be ideal for Richardson to sit for 2 years and then start year 3, but I don't know if you can do that. I was thinking the same thing about Kelly Ringo from Georgia. He doesn't have very good man coverage skills, but he's physical and good in zone. Would be good. A lot of people feel that way. I'm in a minority. I've been having him go to Jacksonville at 24, and I think he could be a day 1 starter at corner. I actually like him, but here's the deal with Kelly Ringo. I call it a pocket corner, where like he jumps in the receiver's hip pocket. He's not that guy, like Jalen Ramsey was, probably 2-3 years ago, but he's not that guy. Can he press at the line of scrimmage? Yeah. Can you have him play zone? Absolutely. Do I want him playing man on a wide receiver 1 or 2, going all over the field? No, I don't. He's not that guy. In a defense like San Francisco, where the heavy zone defense, a place like Tampa Bay might be perfect for him. I think Jacksonville could use him, but they have to realize he's not the guy that's going to be a man corner. He can do press, he can do zone. He's not a man dude. I like him at corner. But a lot of people are saying that he's a guy. By the way, the dude's fast. I mean, the dude's 6'2", almost 210. What do you run at the combine? 4.35? I mean, people sound like the guy can't run. And it's like, dude, he's one of the fastest corners. The dude can run, man. He's not pocket corner. Neither is Joey Porter Jr., who's my favorite corner in the draft. Okay, Witherspoon's a pocket corner. Gonzalez is a pocket corner, and I think I'm the only person that says that. Maybe I hope somebody else says it besides me. Joey Porter Jr. is my corner number 1. I don't want him covering receivers all over the field either. So. Oh, I love it. I get so jacked up when I see Luke G. I love it. I'm so thrilled that Luke's here, man. I like that. He had some very, very impressive tape. He really did. But he's not been anybody. He's not been anybody special in Buffalo. I know the Chiefs. Was it 2 years ago? They had like 250 yards rushing. They just targeted Ed Oliver. They're like, we're just going to run you over. And I think he's been a weak spot on that team. I think that Ed Oliver not panning out was part of the reason they had to give Von Miller a gajillion dollars. But no, he's not. And that's kind of what I think Kancey could be. I think I see a lot more Ed Oliver in him than I do Aaron Donald. And Ed Oliver is just not anybody. I didn't know you spent. Oh God, I had no idea. Ooh, by the way, Geno Atkins. Oh God, he was so good. Geno Atkins is such a, and I love Grady. If the Falcons were a better team, more people would know who Grady Jarrett is. Grady Jarrett, if he played like on the Giants and they were winning, would be about a Hall of Fame player. He's that good, but he's been playing on some bad teams in Atlanta, and it's such a shame because he's such a good player. Yeah. Shit, am I? Yeah. It really was. It really was. No, he could not. I laughed about it too. I will. Okay. I'm not gonna go that round. I like Fangio. I haven't been hearing enough about what he's going to mean to the Dolphins. I'm glad Everio left. And Draymond Jones left. A lot of people think that Denver still has a top 5 defense. It's like you are aware that you're kind of losing coordinators and you're losing pieces, and you signed an offensive-minded coach, and a lot of Broncos fans are like, oh yeah, we still have a top 5 defense. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Yeah, man, I had some fun. Yeah, if you're new, if I don't recognize you and you come out in the first comment, because my comments are set that I review all of them. Some of them get in, and most of the time I don't mind. But I review all of them, and if the first comment, if I don't recognize you and your first comment's name calling, I don't have to post your stuff on my page. I do not have to do that. But he did have a point that John Dorsey's not the assistant general manager, but it's really semantics. It doesn't matter if he's not the assistant. He's not the assistant general manager. He's been a general manager for 2 other teams, and his experience is well respected around the NFL. So even though he doesn't have that title, he has a lot of pull in that front office. Jerry Jeudy hasn't worked out because the Denver's been a shit show since Manning retired. Yeah, exactly. I love Jerry Jeudy coming out of college. I really thought, well, it's kind of. I thought the Raiders really made a mistake in Ruggs over Jeudy. Hindsight, yeah, but yeah. I remember when they drafted Ruggs over CD Lamb and Jeudy, and I was like, I thought they did that only because of Tyreek Hill, and sometimes teams do that. And I kind of want to rant about the draft and how teams trick about other teams, but I'm a little behind on comments, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I don't get why the guy, like, hey, I don't know you, but I'm going to go out of my way to insult you. So, hey, guess what? Your comment doesn't get your comment doesn't get read. I remember that. Jerry Jeudy has all the talent in the world, and I'm kind of wondering if he doesn't pan out. If he doesn't pan out, if Denver just, hey, we're going to move on. But this is a guy I just absolutely loved coming out of Alabama. I absolutely love this guy. So, I personally still think that he's going to go to Seattle at 5. I'm just going to die on that hill. I can't see Pete Carroll looking at Jalen Carter and going, no, I don't want that. I mean, they were 30th in the NFL in run defense. 30th. And I can't see Seattle going, no, we don't want that. I just can't. I'll do if everybody said Denver Gator can call me names, man. Denver Gator can call me names all you want, man. Oh God, yeah, you know what I'm doing. The reason why I've been so busy. Hey girl TV knows. It's a secret though. Don't tell anybody. It's my OnlyFans. She knows about it. Bad joke, hey girl, but yeah. Carter going through off field shouldn't be excuse to be shown. Yeah, I know that. But if I'm Pete Carroll, I wouldn't say this for every coach, but if I'm Pete Carroll, I think that I can motivate that kid. If I'm Pete Carroll, I feel like I can take a chance. Yeah. And by the way, if he slides past 5, I'm 85% sure Detroit takes him. And one thing is that you may have seen the article where it's like 8 teams took him off. That article is complete bullshit. Now, there are some teams that may have taken him off, and it may be for things like I mentioned, Mike Ditka didn't like Edgerrin James because he had a bad handshake. Sometimes players go to teams and that player rubs the team the wrong way. It happens. I mean, it happens, and it can be for silly reasons too. I mean, it could be for like really silly, stupid reasons. But there's also other times when a player meets a team and they connect. And it's a lot of things that here's the deal. Teams that took Jalen Carter off the board are not going to say that. And the 8 teams that I forget where I heard this from. That's, by the way, it's like 105% bullshit because I guarantee you 6 of those 8 that said, "Oh yeah, we want to take Jalen Carter," would take Jalen Carter. But let's go back to the Randy Moss. I think he went to 21. He was going to be a top 5 player and kept on sliding. And that could happen. Jalen Carter could go 5 to Seattle where I have him. He could go, I don't know. How far? Let me ask you this. Where would be the furthest you think he would go? 21 to the Chargers, 22. Baltimore at 22. Pittsburgh at 17. Minnesota at 23. Could he slide past New England at 14? I mean, you guys tell me. I'm convinced he's going to go 5th overall. That's where I see him. The character questions don't. Reading is hard. Gator, the character issues don't bother me. My question is, how much is he dedicated to the game? I'd be curious too, and I think that coaches that are going to talk to him, those interviews, pre-draft, post-combine, those are the ones that are important. Years ago, Tony Mandrish met with Marty Schottenheimer and Carl Peterson. Marty Schottenheimer looked at me and said, "I think you're on steroids." And he said, "Hey, don't draft me." And that was it. The Chiefs threw him off the board. Of course, he went 2nd, so the Chiefs didn't have a chance either. The Chiefs at draft had to choose between Broderick Thomas and Derek Thomas. They chose Derek. That worked out. There are so many things about the draft that happen that are more than field related, combine related. It's a lot of conversations that we're not going to know about. They may come out later. Like there may be a team that passes on Jalen Carter and they may say, "Hey, we just had bad vibe from the kid. We didn't think he was a good kid. We don't want to talk to him." So Absolutely. And plus his stat line. No, and one thing about Georgia is Georgia rotates players constantly. Jermaine Johnson, that was one of the reasons he left Georgia, is he wanted to play full time and he wanted his stats to blow up, and that's what happened at Florida State. Now, he didn't win a national championship, but he did get, I think, like ACC Player of the Year. and they fell in the draft, but you know, and that was one thing I liked about Jermaine. Jermaine, isn't it Jermaine Carter? He was injured last year, but he's a guy that could have a big year. Broncos defense will be mid-tier at best. Lots of layover from the Fangio era gone. It could be really bad. I mean, Draymond Jones was a big part of that defense. That was a good under-the-radar signing by Seattle, but Draymond Jones is a smaller guy. That's why I kind of like Jalen Carter, getting a guy with some size. But that's just my opinion. You know, that's what I think. But yeah, I don't know about mid-tier, but Broncos fans are like, oh yeah, we have a top 5 defense. Where do you get that? No. But I do like what they've done in free agency. I like fixing the offensive line up. That was smart. So that's kind of why I like Draymond Jones, Pete Carroll, Seattle. I remember you're bringing Bobby Wagner back. I think you have some veterans on that defense, and I think that's why Seattle makes a lot of sense. You know, that's kind of why I see Seattle making a lot of sense. So yeah. Eagles had number 1 O and D right, and a QB, a good deal. People argued was legit. Yeah, I did too. Over Mahomes still lost Super Bowl, so if Denver saw this, they couldn't do it with the top D, so might as well have a top O. Good luck. I mean, the thing is, what I'm hearing from Denver social media is that they're convinced they still have a top 5 D, and they really don't. And that I think the thing that Denver fans are really not understanding is that you're at the bottom tier. Maybe you're better than the Raiders, but you're trying to build everything, and a lot of them feel like they're already there. That's the problem, is that you're down here, but they think they're up here. So, I have no fear of Denver. I have no fear of Denver, but it will be interesting to see what they do in the draft. Same with the other 2 teams. So, oh God, my vibes is from when he asked for feet pics from women. I really think that going to a team like Seattle would be perfect for Jalen Carter. I really do. I think you have a veteran locker room, veteran coach. It'll be interesting because, like I said, Moss slid to, I think it was 21. So, no joke. I wish I could find that clip, but yeah, Mike Ditka said, yeah, I shook Edgerrin James' hand and he had a limp handshake, so I didn't want to draft him. And there's weird stories like that. There's weird stories like that of why coaches, general managers don't like certain players. There really are. Not as much as you may think. Not as much as you may think. NGO. The more I think about Campbell can light a fire, I think he could too. I think Carroll's better suited for a guy like Carter than Campbell is, to be perfectly honest. Nothing against Campbell, but I'm looking at Bobby Wagner. I'm looking at Draymond Jones. I'm looking at Pete Carroll, and I think that would be better than Detroit. That's my opinion. You know, after drafting Jordan Davis, I don't know if I could take I'm maybe 30, but not I don't know if you can draft him in 10. So how bad would Carter have to screw up his interview if you, Dan? I think it would have to be really bad personally, because I love the tape. I really think he would have to screw it up really bad. I mean, like, it would have to be bad. Like maybe if he showed up high or something. I mean, it would have to be something. It would have to be something like. Have you ever talked to somebody and like they leave the room and you're just like doing this? Like it would have to be that bad. I really, because I love the tape. I love the upside. Big men should not be able to move like that. Big men should not be able to move like that. I love the upside. It would have to be really bad. I think if no teams in the top 10 want to draft Carter, one of those teams at the end of the top 10 will be smart enough to have a trade worked out for the team. Yeah, and I'm looking at Philly. I'm looking at Philly. I'm looking at Atlanta. I'm looking at the Raiders, and I'm looking at Detroit. And I'm looking at specifically those four. I'm leaving Chicago out because I think Chicago at 9. I think you make all these moves. I think at 9 you have to draft an offensive lineman. Could you put Jalen Carter on the Bears? You could. I think that'd be a bad fit in a bad spot because he would have to be instantly productive on a bad defense that's trying to rebuild. Like I wouldn't like that, but I'm looking at Detroit at 6. If he gets past Seattle, Detroit at 6 could make a trade down, or they could draft him. The Raiders at 7 could definitely draft him, and they could definitely trade. The Raiders need help on all 3 levels. Atlanta at 8, local kid. Do you draft him? Do you trade him? That would be a tough one. But I'm looking at Philly at 10. I think Philly, because they drafted Jordan Davis last year, I think Philly at 10, I keep mocking. That's kind of the reason why I started the trades, is because I looked at them at 10 because I had Tyree Wilson falling. And I'm like, if Tyree Wilson gets to 10, somebody's going to trade with Philly. And that's why I started doing trades. So, but yeah, Philly definitely would move down. The Jeffrey Simmons contract is interesting because Tennessee at 11 probably wouldn't take a guy who's just like him, you know. So Dick and Williams had a session before draft. Listen, yeah, Ricky Williams and Mike Ditka really hit it off, and sometimes players and coaches just get along. Oh man, another I apologize. I've had some my personal life's been kind of hectic. I want to get you guys on live with Luke and do a mock draft. So I forgot about that. For those of you that don't know, like somebody asked Des Bryant, it's actually funny. The Giants, I don't know if they still do it. The Giants have this giant written exam. It was like 750 questions, and a player said, like, well, what about the Giants exam? And he goes, well, it's kind of weird. One of the questions said, would you want to be a dressmaker? And I said, no. I thought that was strange. I heard that a Giants, I forget who it was, a Giants executive said a player that they were interviewing started talking about all the chicks he hooked up with in college. And they were like, You're at a job interview. We don't want to hear about all the girls you hooked up. And they were like, yeah, we took them off the board. Yeah. I am so happy to see you guys here, man. I know Gooch gets a lot of love, man. Gooch gets a lot of love, man. I know you do. Yeah. Gooch is so good, man. Oh man. Ask me once. Oh, okay. I didn't want to put it out in public, but I was really curious. I was really curious. I didn't want to put it out there. So I was here 10 minutes before you went live, got hung up on something else, and just, hey, Mel, I'm glad you're here, James. I'm glad you're here. My new mock draft is coming Tuesday, 6 p.m. There's going to be a player trade. There's going to be a player traded draft day. So you're going to love it. Gary, man, I love it. Dan, regarding New York teams, I'm predicting the Jets draft Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon. You think it can happen? Also, the Giants draft John Michael Schmitz, offensive center out of Minnesota, if not who in the first. Okay. I think the Jets don't draft Christian Gonzalez. And the reason why is that they spent a lot of money. I'm drawing a blank on his name. They got him from Seattle. A pretty good deal. It's like a 3-year, $30 million deal. He's a pretty good player. Then you got Sauce Gardner on the other side. I think you're good. I really think you're good. It would be interesting, but to be honest, I don't think that's the way the Jets would go. That's just my opinion. But if he's available at 13, maybe. John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota. That actually makes a lot of sense. My mock draft is below. Please watch it, because I talk about the Giants a lot, because I think the Giants may get possibly the best player in the draft. Well, I'll tell you. I think that they get – I have them drafting Keon White out of Georgia Tech. In 10 years from now, Keon White might be the best player. And there's a lot of mock drafts that have him going in the second round. I think that if Keon White lands on the Jets, it could be really dangerous for the NFC, because it's the perfect player for the perfect team, because he's a guy that can play inside, outside. He's raw, and because you got Thibodeau and you got Williams and you got Ojulari, you got a bunch of weapons already in place. He doesn't have to be the guy. He could be really good there. John Michael Schmitz would be a great pick for the Giants too. And the Giants have been loading up trying to fix that offensive line, so I have no problem with that. I'll be honest with you, man. I would be really shocked if the Jets went corner again in the first round. I would be really shocked. And the reason why is, let's say you're picking 13, you have a hole at left tackle, and you're gonna get Aaron Rodgers. Why fuck around with that? If I'm the Jets, I might even trade up if I don't have to give up pick number 13. If I get Aaron Rodgers, I might even trade up and try to get the best possible offensive lineman. That's what I see. To be perfectly honest with you, I think you got the positions flipped. I would go offensive line for the Jets, and I would go secondary, possibly secondary with the Giants. But if Keon White's available, Wink Martindale would love a guy like Keon White. And Keon White, like if he goes to the Giants, I'd like NFL, watch out. 10 years from now, Keon White might be like a 3-time defensive MVP. I think he has the potential to be that good. Like 10 years from now, we're wondering, how did he get all the way to 25? I really think he could be that good, but I think he has to go to the right scheme, because he's raw as hell. I mean, you can use him as a 5 technique. You can use him as a defensive tackle. You could use him as a 4-3 defensive end. I love this kid, and that's why I mocked to Detroit. Early on, I had him mocked all the way to Atlanta at 8, because I could see him being like a Cam Jordan type of player. Just put him in as a defensive end, even though he's like 290, and just figure out how to play. You're big, you're strong, you're fast, figure it out. And I could see that happening. I love Keon White, man. I mean, I'll be honest, I would love to see, I don't think it'll happen, but Keon White falls late in the draft. I would love to see the Chiefs draft him and say, we're going to play all over the defensive line. We're not even going to find you. We're not even going to label you as an end or a tackle. We're just going to just say, screw it. And if Chris Jones wants too much money, you're going to play defensive tackle. I would love that. I was going to say something dirty, but I'm not going to, because I got Hey Girl here. So, but yeah, I would, the position groups I would flip. I think the Jets need to go offensive line, and the Giants. To be honest with you though, John Michael Schmitz going to the Giants at 25 makes a lot of sense. Or the Giants could trade down and probably get him later, maybe late in the first round, maybe early in the second. So what do you think about Detroit playing the Chiefs overseas? I didn't know that was official yet. It's been a rough week, man. I'm sorry. I said that a couple times, and I should be bet more on the ball, but it's been rough. Is that official? Because if it is, I'd look forward to it, and I'm hoping I can get Luke G on that week to talk about Chiefs Lions. So, man, Funk, thanks, brother. What's up? Yeah, and by the way, yeah, please hit the like button. Please give me the thumbs up. Please give me the thumbs up. And by the way, for everybody who checked out my latest mock draft, the link's below if you haven't already. It's a really good video. I first ever with projected trades. A lot of you put in some comments, and I love all of them. So I make sure I always give it a good handshake. I even crush the hands of 80-year-old women. Gotta keep. You gotta have a good handshake. Don't do the limp wrist thing. Carter would be a good fit in Detroit too. If Campbell can't light a fire under him, no one can. I really think Seattle would be a better place for Carter. I really believe that. But if you're Detroit at 6 and Carter's there, I really think that Detroit should do that. I really do. You know what? I'll go a step further. I'm going to say something that's going to sound really crazy. If I'm Detroit and I draft Carter at 6 and Cansey's available at 18, I might double dip, take them both. Why not? Just rotate, and light a fire under McNeil. Say, hey, look, step it up. You're part of the defense that was like 28th in points, 28th in yards, 28th in points, 30th in yards. I would tell McNeil, step it up. Why not double dip Carter and Cansey? And by the way, if I did that, I would tell Cansey, hey, guy did his pro day, he was overweight. I seriously, I would make Cansey, feel like second fiddle. I would really light a fire under his ass. But seriously, if you take Carter at 6, don't be surprised if you get Cansey again at 18. Just say screw it. We're going to build up our defensive line. And that's something that you may be able to work with. If I don't know. I mean, you have to understand something. Everybody makes mistakes when they're 20 and 21. It's how do you adapt from it? Randy Moss made a lot more. I think, well, maybe not more, but I mean, Randy Moss did some dumb things. So, oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, that was pretty good. I'm not familiar with that guy, but the running back, the other running back out of Texas, I'm hearing could go in the second round. More and more teams. Rashawn Johnson, I think it is. People are falling in love with that kid. Dan, what's the earliest John Michael Schmidt's offensive center Minnesota gets drafted in the first round? I have not mocked him in the first round personally. I have not mocked him. Earliest? Okay. Earliest, very earliest, and I don't think he goes there. I would look at 15 Green Bay and 16 Washington. I would look at those two teams, and that would be the very earliest. I haven't mocked him in the first round yet, and the reason why is that it's not fair. Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to admit whose name I forgot. Well, I just admitted it. So, all right. I look at Creed Humphrey of the Chiefs. Okay. I don't see a guy who's on Creed Humphrey's level. I don't see that at all. I didn't see that coming out of college. And Creed Humphrey, I think, went 50, 52nd, 56, 55 something. So I don't see John Michael Schmitz going in the first round when I didn't see when Creed Humphrey got drafted 50 something. So it's kind of hard for me to draft a guy in the first round that I looked at and I said, well, you're not as good as Creed Humphrey. There's a lot of hindsight in that statement. So I understand if you're going to say, well, Dan, it's easy to look at it now, but I liked Humphrey a lot more than I liked Schmitz. He was a much better athlete. I just liked him a lot more. And I thought he's a guy that, probably a second round pick. So I think he's a second round player. He's also a guy who goes to a team, could play for 12 years, be a great player. The very earliest, I'm thinking 15 to Green Bay. That would be the very earliest. Funk as another guy to look at. Which one? Thibs is paying. I don't think so. I don't think so. But we're going to find out what he does this year. I think he could have a big year. What corner would you take for the Giants at pick 25? God, that's a tough one because let's just say 25. Okay. Witherspoon's going to be gone. Joey Porter Jr. is going to be gone, and Gonzalez is going to be gone. Definitely. All right, so those three are gone. All right. Now here's the question. The guy that I would love for the Giants to take would be Deonte Banks, the corner out of Maryland. That would be the guy I would circle. But I had him in my latest draft, which I really encourage you to watch. It's a really good video. The link's below. So if you go to the description page, the link is to my latest mock draft. It's a longer video, but it's really good. It's really good. I'm bragging up my own content, but a lot of people liked it. But Deonte Banks in that mock draft is already gone. But Deonte Banks would be like my dream scenario guy that you could get at 25. That would be the perfect guy. Big, strong, fast, just has the I talked earlier, I don't know if you were or not, where you have a pocket corner, a corner that can just jump in the receiver's hip pocket. Deonte Banks could be that type of dude. But he's also a physical dude who could play in zone. Like Deonte Banks, a guy super raw, not day one ready. Where I think Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Joey Porter Jr., I think Kelly Ringo could play day one. Kelly Ringo, I think, would be a great fit. Cam Smith out of South Carolina, I don't think I've mocked him in the first round. A guy that I am in love with, and I'm hoping, I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't go to a team like Buffalo or Cincinnati, would be Emmanuel Forbes. And I know he came in at 166. I don't think it matters. This is a guy I think there's going to be a team that's going to draft Emmanuel Forbes and whoever the other three teams in the division are going to hate this guy. Emmanuel Forbes is a guy I think that whoever drafts him is going to get a stud. I love this kid. I know he weighed 166. I know it's a red flag. I think he's going to be a stud. Not a guy Wink Martindale would draft. Sorry, I went on a rant there. To answer your question, Deonte Banks at 25, he could be gone. Pittsburgh could get him, but that would be the guy that I'm the Giants that I'm targeting. A corner out of Maryland. Maryland played he was asked to do a lot of different things. He can do a lot of different things. Raw as hell, not day one ready at all. But he's a guy that would play special teams. He's not afraid to hit. Just a guy Wink Martindale would love. Deonte Banks. I think he'd like Kelly Ringo, but I think, like, I'll be honest, if Ringo and Banks were available, they would take Banks. That's just my opinion. Where I have Jacksonville taking Ringo. So okay, so you know what? I haven't talked about this yet. And I want to do it more and more. And I really, really want to do this. The Lions are now favored by Caesars and by sports bettors. Actually, I reached out to Roar of the Lions. Roar of the Lions. Yeah, Roar of the Lions, UK. I wanted to get a video together. I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, we can work something out. He can't come on the live stream because it's like 2 a.m. there. But I want to do like a video with him. And because I reached out to him on Instagram. The Lions are favored. This is not a trap game. You guys can't do that underdog shit anymore. You can't do that underdog shit anymore. And everybody, if Chiefs fans, oh, nobody thinks we can do it. Nobody thinks we can do it. Everybody's against us. No. You can't do that anymore. You're no longer a trap game team. The Lions no longer are a trap game. People are expecting it now. You can't do it anymore. You're no longer the underdogs. So I get you have to have a good handshake. Is Brian Branch strictly a safety, or could he play cornerback for a team like the Giants? No, he's not strictly a safety. I mocked him 21 to the Chargers. Okay, I mocked him 21 to the Chargers, and at the Chargers, because Nasir Adderley retired, he would play free safety. A team like Baltimore, he could play corner. It really depends on where he goes. I didn't mention him to the Giants because I think he's gone at 21. Nasir Adderley retired. They need a free safety. This is a bad safety class. I like Antonio Johnson a lot. I love this kid, but I think he's your stereotypical box safety. Wink Martindale may fall in love with that, but you lost Julian Love, who's more of a free safety, so that he doesn't really fit that type. A guy like Brian Branch, I would love to have Brian Branch go to a team that says we're going to use you all over the place. But could you draft him and say, hey, you're going to play nickel corner? Sure. I see the Lions drafting a guard and a linebacker in the second and taking a back in the third. I could see that. I by the way, Osiris Torrance at 18 makes a lot of sense. I love Osiris Torrance. I love Osiris Torrance. The latest John Michael Schmitz without having the draft chart in front of me, I'm gonna say early third. I couldn't pick a team, but I think that if he's available in the third round, there's going to be multiple teams that are going to trade up. I would look for New England. New England has either 4 picks in round 4 and 3 in round 7, or 6. It's either 4 picks in round 4, 3 in round 6, or 4 in round 6, 3 in round 4. And New England's a team that if he's is available in round 3, I could see New England taking him and like just getting creative. Trying to think of a team. Dallas is a team that if he starts to fall, I could see Dallas actually taking him in the second round. I could see Dallas taking him in the second round. But early third, I don't want to sit here and tell you because I don't have the draft chart, but I'm gonna say early third. I like him a lot, but I remember Creed Humphrey coming out, and he's not Creed Humphrey, and Creed Humphrey went 50 something, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. So, yeah, exactly. If you don't have a good handshake, have a good handshake. A good handshake's very important. Don't be like Keys and crush ladies' hands. It's okay. Actually, I used to sell cars years ago. My boss was Jerry White. Loved Jerry White. One of my favorite people in the world. Loved that dude. Jerry White. I know he played football. I remember college, high school. Jerry White was doing the Atkins diet, trying to get under 300 pounds. So he was like 330, 340, 6'5", just giant of a man. I'm 5'8". At the time, I was like 150. I'm 170 now. So there was a dude, a guy came up to the car lot. He was giving me a hard time. And he goes, I want to see your boss. So I opened the door for him. You don't have to open the door. So Jerry saw it. And Jerry just like, hey, I'm Jerry White. I'm Dan's boss. And the guy like, because Jerry just crushed his hand. I mean, Jerry's hand was just, Jerry was such a big dude. But he goes, yeah, I just like crushed his hand, because Jerry, me and Jerry had a real good relationship. I love Jerry White, but yeah, I'll never ever that guy kind of like went. Ugh. I saw him like kind of shrink 2 inches, and yeah. If the Giants took Deonte Banks in the first round and you wanted to take the same position in the second, who would you take? Oh God, that's a good one. If Cam Smith falls And that's a big if. A big if. I would try to get Cam Smith, and I don't think he will. Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami would kind of be the guy that I think could hang around. And here's the thing, they're similar type players. But that would be a guy. You would probably have to trade up for a guy like Cam Smith if he falls in the second round, which is possible. Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami, you might have to trade up for, but I don't think the Giants do that. But if Tyreek Stevenson's available, I don't see the Giants double dipping at corner. I really don't see it. I really don't. So. Avia from Troy would be a steal in the second round for the Lions. That's a guy I really think that watch out for Dallas. I think Dallas really likes that kid. They are not a trap team anymore. Nope. By the way, yeah, man. Thanks for. I should have mentioned this. I didn't realize this. I'm in Facebook jail. But yeah, if you see me on Facebook, I actually have a page, Dan Talks Football. I'm not really using it. I've had some issues with Facebook. Like I said, I'm in Facebook jail right now. I didn't realize it. So, yeah, so I'm kind of moving away from social media, but yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's kind of funny, like Hey Girl TV, I communicate with her via Instagram. Keys likes using Twitter, and Facebook. I follow some family members. I chit chat with some family members on Facebook. So it's kind of a weird deal, but yeah, I'm glad you did. I'm not posting as many things on Facebook, and I just realized I'm in Facebook jail. So yeah, but I am very glad. Yes. Please do. And thank you so much. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. So that's a question. The answer is no. The Lions are no longer a trap team. When you beat the Green Bay Packers, you're awakening in the NFL. Teams are now looking at Detroit like, hey, this is a team we have to watch out for. This is a team we have to worry about. Vegas odds makers have the Lions as the favorite. And it's by a big number, and I'm really surprised. Why isn't it the Vikings? The Vikings lost some players. Vegas odds makers have the Lions as the favorite to win the NFC North. Going into more and more of the offseason, we're going to hear more and more about the Lions being favored to win the North. The Lions are not a trap team. You can no longer do that. Oh, we're the underdog role. No, that those days are over. Well, you know what? They're not, because a lot of Chiefs fans try to pretend that they're underdogs. A lot of Chiefs fans. Nobody thinks the Chiefs can win 2 in a row. Everybody thinks we suck. And it's like, come on. No, the Lions are no longer a trap team. Can't use that anymore. And that's a good thing. And you have and it's going to keep coming up, because you have 2 picks in the first round, you have 2 picks in the second round, and there's going to get more and more hype between now and the start of the season. You're going to see more and more Lions hype. You're going to see more positive things about the Lions, but that's a good thing. I think I came across negatively when I said that. Like, it didn't mean it negative, and that's a good thing. And like, the days of you winning 3 games are over. The days of you. Do you remember when you were like, man, we may go winless? Do you remember that? Not anymore. Would Osiris Torrance, offensive guard out of Florida, be available for the Giants at pick 25 earlier slate as he gets drafted? Good. That's a good. Could he be available at pick 25? The answer is yes. That's definitely possible. Definitely possible. I actually mocked him once to the Not my latest draft, but I have mocked him to Dallas actually at 26. So the earliest he gets drafted, the very earliest would be 15 Green Bay. And I think that would be a real stretch. And the only way you do that is if you're convinced Jenkins, you're just going to move Jenkins outside. And I think that the Green Bay does want to move him outside, but Osiris Torrance Severus earliest would be 15 to Green Bay. And I said this over and over again. I could see him going 15 to Green Bay. I could see him going 16 to Washington. I could see him going 17 to Pittsburgh. I could see him going that early. The very latest, I really can't see him going past Dallas. I can't see the Dallas Cowboys passing on him. But if he gets past Dallas, I'm trying to think of Buffalo picks 27. I don't know if Buffalo. I'm drawing a blank if Buffalo signed a guard or not. I would be pissed if Buffalo got him. And then Cincinnati at 28. If Buffalo or Cincinnati drafted him, I would be really pissed. I mean, very pissed. That would really make me mad. I'm going to say Dallas. I think Dallas would be the absolute latest because in Dallas, he would be a day one starter. You would just boom. So I'm going to say Dallas. But Dallas is a weird team. So, yeah. And also Steve Avila, the guard out TCU, is a guy, local kid. I think like two-time captain, played a ton. A big physical guy that I'm kind of developing a man crush on, but I don't think he's a first round player, even though I love the guy. And I think Dallas could draft. I think Dallas could trade out of round one and draft Avila, plug and play him day one, and he could play 12 years in Dallas. Easy. So every show is something different. I love this. I love it. Yeah, work on your handshake. Hold on there. Could Giants have Osiris Torrance and John Michael Schmitz available in the first and second round? The answer is yes. I would be shocked, beyond shocked, if they went offensive line first and second. I would be floored. Because they've been building up the offensive line over the last couple drafts. So I really don't think they would do that. Is it possible? Yeah. I would be beyond shocked if they did that. But yeah. We went 5-1 in our division last season, could have been 6-0. Why do you think Aaron Rodgers really wants out of Green Bay? Okay, number one, Aaron Rodgers, different type of dude. Who knows what Aaron Rodgers is just doing whatever Aaron Rodgers wants. It's his world. We just live in it. In my personal opinion, I just think he's a different type of dude. I think that I think he just wants to do something different. I mean, terrible analogy, but do you have a favorite restaurant? Do you have a restaurant that you go to like maybe once or twice a week, every week? Like me and some friends, like we go shooting, and for a long time we used to go to the Bass Pro, and I got a job at Bass Pro, and I didn't want to go there anymore. But for a while, lately, we used to have a drill where we would go to this place called Pega's. It's a local place. Anyway, we would go to Pega's. We go to Pega's all the time. But every now and then, it's like, we've gone to Pega's, 20 straight times. Let's try on the border or whatever. Oh. My rant was good. Okay. My guy Torrance Vikings. Yeah. All those teams. My rant was going to be good, damn it. I love it. Man. Jason Peterson 8's coming strong, man. Make sure you subscribe, man. If Jason, if you haven't, do please do, man. Oh God, that was strong. That was so strong. Any receivers that you see can separate and be available at 25? Oh, absolutely. There's a ton. There's a ton of receivers. There's a lot of receivers that could be available. I would love to see the Giants go after Quentin Johnston if possible. There's a lot of things I like about him, but after what happened with Galladay, because they're similar type of players, you probably don't want to go that route. Jackson Smith and Jigba could fall in this draft, and I think that's the guy that would be perfect. I think he would be absolutely perfect. Now, smaller receivers like Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, you already got guys like that. So I wouldn't recommend getting any one of those guys, but you may be able to get somebody like Quentin Johnston. He may fall to 25, and I think that would be good. But since he has a very similar skill set to Galladay, which was a disaster, I don't know if you really want to go that route. But Jackson Smith and the Jigba would be perfect. He would be perfect. Remember, you have Darren Waller too, and how you're planning on using him. Are you counting? Did you trade for him and say, hey, he's going to play 17, even though he played like 15 games the last 2 years for the Raiders? Would you draft a tight end? Well, if Michael Myers available at 25? There's some good tight ends in this draft. I actually think that instead of receiver, I'm thinking in the second round, Tyler Croft out of South Dakota State. I think that might be a great fit. And he learns under Waller, doesn't have to play that much. So I love Johnston. He reminds me a lot of Julio Jones. His highlights are probably better than any wide receiver, just the pure highlights, unless you want to go Jackson Smith and Jigba against Utah. that was just phenomenal. Oh, separate route running. Well, that's the thing. Johnston doesn't have the route running. Jordan Addison would be the guy, but I mean, you got Sterling Shepard. You drafted, was it Wendell Robinson out of Kentucky last year? I don't see you guys going with a smaller guy. To answer your question, the answer would be Jackson Smith and Jigba. But I have a hard time believing. Here's the deal. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a guy that, like, later in the draft, could you get him around 25? And the answer is maybe. If he starts to fall, I would love to see a Giants trade up, but it's not been a thing that they do, and I would be really shocked. To be perfectly honest, if I'm the Giants, instead of wide receiver, I'm looking at a tight end in round 2. I'm drawing a blank. The kid out of Oregon State. I'm drawing a complete blank, but that's a guy who could be available, and that would be a really, really, really great fit for the Giants. And what you're doing is you're drafting the guy. Hey, look, Darren Waller's played, I think it's 15 games the last 2 years. He's over 30 now. I think the Giants would be really silly in just saying, hey, look, we're going to get a guy who's going to have Travis Kelce production, which is like ideal, but you'd be silly to bank on that. So I would want to draft a guy like Tyler Croft, the kid out of Oregon State. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. He's also a guy coming off an injury. I would draft a tight end in the second round. That's what I would do. And that's kind of what I think the Giants might go in that direction, unless they want to roll the dice with Quentin Johnson or if Jackson Smith and Jigba falls. Now, the way I think it would happen, even though bear with me, this may not make sense, but Quentin Johnson's my number 1 receiver. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba goes first in the draft. Hopefully that makes sense. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably gone at 25, and I don't think the Giants trade up for a receiver. But if they do, that's who I would trade up for. At 25, you may be able to draft Quentin Johnson. Yeah, he's a lot like Galladay, but he's got more speed. He's got more upside. I would roll the dice if I was the Giants on Quentin Johnson. But as far as route running, that's like the weakest part of his game because he didn't really do any of that. So now I'm glad, brother. I'm glad. Denver Gator says, I cracked a 1,000 subs less than a month ago. It was March 15th, and it was really cool. It was really cool. If I get 4,000 watched minutes, I'm eligible to be monetized, and hopefully it just keeps growing. Musgrave, that's the guy. And hopefully I just keep growing and growing and growing. According to Bufa, he does taxes, and he's like, once you get monetized on YouTube, we can start writing off some expenses. He says I can write off all my OnlyFans accounts. So that's a Bufa tax tip. So, Gary, we're talking, I could see that. I really think in the second round, I could see the Giants taking the tight end and then using Darren Waller and another guy like Musgrave or I just said his name and then drew a complete. Did I call him Taylor Swift? Did I really call him that? Hopefully I didn't. There's some good tight ends in the draft, and if I'm the Giants, maybe in the second round I get one of those guys. But there could be a guy like Zay Flowers who's available in the second round, early in the second round. Zay Flowers could be available to the Giants at 25. So no. It was a running joke about my. Luke, I should start an OnlyFans. And by the way, Luke, if you're available, I need to hit you up, and I apologize. My personal life over the last couple of weeks have been hectic, but I want to have you back on. I want to do a live first round mock before the draft, so I'm going to try to get that ironed out with you. I'll DM you. I'll DM you after a show because I have an idea of when I want to do it, and I want to make sure you're free. Also, Luke, if you're free draft day, if you're not doing anything, when the Lions get ready to pick at 6, I would love it if you join me in Bufa and give us some feedback. So, but dude, that's awesome. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you up after the show because I have an idea. With Justin Shorter, wide receiver out of Florida, Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver Iowa State, or Luke Musgrave, tight end Oregon State, or Zach Kuntz, tight end Old Medina, and be fit for the Giants, and I'll be available and take on the mid rounds. Luke Musgrave is the only one in round 2 out of those names I'm thinking is off the board, and Luke Musgrave's one of those guys that some teams are going to clear him medically. So here's the deal. For those of you that don't know, Luke Musgrave, I think, only played in 7 games last year, but he's still recovering, and he is just some people think that he could go late first round, and I don't think he's going there. I think he's going to go somewhere mid-late second. Out of all those names on the list, now I'm hearing Zach Kuntz is names going up. I don't buy that. I think he's going to go late second. When the Giants pick again in round 2, he's going to be available. Justin Shorter, wide receiver out of Florida. I'm not too familiar with him, but Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver out of Iowa State, could do maybe in the 4th round. So. Jason, hit DM me. All my social media links are below, and we can work something out. I'm trying to do a live first round mock. I'm going to try to get the talent on here. That's Gooch. Keys, if he's available, and Luke G. It's a bad excuse, I know, and I keep saying it over and over again. But the one thing I will tell you, if Luke G's on the show, I am going to have Luke G do the Lions picks, but that's out of respect for Luke. I've been on this show a couple times. So, but if you want to get involved in that, or if you want to join me for draft day, If you're not aware, by the way, if you're not aware, I'm going live April 27th, all 31 picks. Bufa said he's on board. His wife may divorce him. So that's only negative. But Bufa said he's on board. I will be live the whole first round. So please join me. I need to I should have that on below, but I've been worried more about my mock drafts. So Denver Gator, April 27th. Me and Bufa are really hoping to see you, man. Really hoping to see you. Laporta is a name that is skyrocketing up the board. Laporta is just skyrocketing up the board. And by the way, Jason, I really hope to see you April 27th as well. Because, I mean, we're in Lions at 6, Lions at 18. Are they going to trade? It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. So here's the drill. Bufa told me he's going to be on board all 31 picks with a bottle of scotch. Does anybody know the Kid Rock song that it's from? Laporta is skyrocketing up draft boards. You know what? I'm going to bring it up because I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm going to bring up the whole draft. I'm going to bring up second round. Okay, so Detroit picks 48 and 55. I'll be honest. Kuntz, okay, let's see here. So Kuntz might be available. Let me do this here. Let me pull up just the Lions picks. Okay. Kuntz might be available at pick 81 in the third round. Laporta at pick 48, I think, is gone. Kuntz might be available at 81. And that's kind of what I see. I can't either. And this is why I want to get a Lions fan on. I want to get a Lions fan on the live stream when the Lions pick at 6, because I am dying to know. Because when I do my mock draft, I seriously, I have my mock draft ironed out. Everything's ready to go. I'm stumped at 6. I am completely stumped at 6. And that's why when the draft starts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm probably not going to be surprised any of those 5. Pete Carroll, who knows what he'll do in the draft. Pete Carroll is a wild card. Nobody knows what he's going to do. The Lions at 6 is where, I mean, I could go 4 different positions. That's the thing with the Lions. I can seriously, quarterback. Seriously, Hendon Hooker at 6 is a possibility. Will Levis at 6, possibility. I can go there. Jalen Carter's available. I can go there. Tyree Wilson, I can go there. I can go Witherspoon. I can go Gonzalez. I can trade. The draft at 6 is where I'm looking at it and I'm like, what are the Lions going to do? And my gut is I think they want to trade down, but how far? Because they pick again at 18. And who wants to trade up to 6? That's interesting because what are the teams that are available? Who wants to trade up? Because the team that I think would be a lot of fun and it makes sense to me would be Houston. They can go from 12 to 6. Do they do that? Is there a player that Houston says, hey, you know what? Let's get our guy. Let's get our guy. We're gonna get our quarterback at 2, which let's be honest. I've seen some mocks where they pick Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter or whatever, but let's just say they're probably taking a quarterback at 2. Houston's a team that could trade up. They can go 12 to 6. What about Washington? They got those 2 defensive linemen under contract. When if Detroit agrees to eat it? When if you can get Deron Payne and 8 and 16? You traded last year of Minnesota. Maybe Green Bay. Maybe Green Bay doesn't. Maybe Green Bay says, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of Rodgers, but we're not sold on." I forgot his name already. We're gonna draft Hendon Hooker at 6. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I mean, there's talks about Tennessee wanting to draft a quarterback. I don't see that. I don't see Tennessee going 11-6. I don't. I don't see how it's possible, but maybe Tampa Bay wants to go from 19-6. Maybe they want to get their guy. So let's say you don't want Jalen Carter. You know what? I forgot to mention this. Bijan Robinson. What if you're the Lions and you say, "Hey, who's the guy that can go ahead? Who's the guy that can go ahead and improve our team the most this year?" It's probably Bijan Robinson. It really is. And so, but you can go running back, you can go quarterback, you can go defensive end, you can go defensive tackle, you can go corner, you can go trade. I have no idea what the Lions are going to do at 6. My latest mock draft, I'm stumped. I seriously, I have the rest of my draft. I have a spreadsheet. I'm ready to go on my mock draft right now. 6 is the spot that gets me. Skylar Thompson. Really? I didn't know that. He played a lot of K-State. I liked him out of K-State. I like the kid. Is Michael Meyer tight end Notre Dame and Sam Laporta tight end Iowa available and a fit for the Giants in the first and second round? Yes. Now, Michael Meyer, I think, could be in 2 to 3 years from now, maybe the best tight end in football. And the answer, and I like Michael Meyer because Michael Meyer and Darren Waller are completely opposite. Where Waller's just really a big wide receiver. Michael Meyer is a true tight end. And I think he could be an absolute monster. And I think he would be a great fit for the Giants in the first round. But you're not going to draft 2 tight ends after giving up a 3rd round pick for Waller. I think what's more likely is that the Giants draft a guy like Laporta in the 2nd round. That's what I think would happen. But Michael Meyer is a guy I really like a lot. I think he's a really good player. I'm actually gonna wrap up here in a few minutes, but I'm going live for the mock draft April 27th, and I want to get you and Luke G on my show for a live first round mock. Luke G is going to I'm going to give Luke G the Lions picks, of course, but I would want you and Gooch, the talent, to come on here. Things have been hectic, but I'm going to reach out to you here soon. And then don't forget April 27th, I'm going to be live the whole first round. So, yeah. And nobody expected the Lions to have the 6th pick in the draft. Nobody saw that coming. Raiders take Kuntz in the first. Denver Gator, when I have my mock draft come out, I'm going to hit you up because I really want your opinions because it's a good one. Do you think Hendon Hooker will drop out of the first because of his age? When do you think he is most likely drafted? The problem with Hendon Hooker is that I think his stock's skyrocketing. NFL teams are falling in love with this kid. He could go 6 to Detroit, and there could be a team that trades up with Detroit and says, "Hey, we're going to take him." In my latest mock draft, Gary, please check it out. The video link is below. I have Tampa Bay trading up to 14. So I really like Jahmyr Gibbs for us over Robinson. Well, here's the deal. He does a lot of things that DeAndre Swift does. I actually liked Swift more than Gibbs coming out of college, but I like Gibbs a lot. Gibbs could go to the Saints, believe it or not. I know they signed Williams. I know they got Kamara. I could still see him going to the Saints. Believe it or not, I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City wanted to draft him. You're going to say, wait a minute, Dan, we got I just drew a blank. Can't believe I forgot his name. Isaiah Pacheco. Because he does a lot of things differently. He's more of a pure receiver. I don't think the Chiefs would take him in the first round, but I wouldn't hate it. I could see him going to Philly at 30. So Dan has spoilers. Tampa trading up for Hooker. In my last mock, that's what I did. So earliest and latest Michael Meyer tight end Notre Dame Sam Laporte. Okay, earliest Michael Meyer 15 to Green Bay, and I know I keep picking on Green Bay, but I actually mocked him once the Green Bay at 15. That's the very earliest. You know what? Maybe 14 to New England. Maybe I really don't see Belichick taking Meyer at 14, but maybe 14 or 15 for Meyer. Latest would I have to go back to my mock board here. I'm probably thinking 38, 39. Probably 38 would be the Raiders. I'd be shocked if he got past Carolina at 39, but the Raiders at 38. If Meyer's available at 38, that has to be the pick for the Raiders because you lose Waller. So I to be honest with you, I could see the Raiders if he falls really late in the draft. I could see the Raiders trading back into the first round just for Meyer. But 38 would be the latest. Laporta, I really don't know. There could be a team that trades into the first round because I could see the Giants, Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, the Saints, Philly, and I think Kansas City at 31 is going to trade up. But I could see almost every team after Jacksonville wanting to trade down, and I could see a team, saying, "Hey, look, we could use a guy like Laporta." That's like the very, 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 very earliest. Latest could be early fourth. And I know it's a huge range, but this is a deep tight end draft. So Washington trades with Falcons, grabs Levis. God, that actually makes a lot of sense. But you can return kickoffs for us with Lou Swift. Yeah, and Swift is probably going to be gone after this year. I got a hunch that the Swift just didn't work out. He'll be gone after this year probably. So I do too. I've had him mocked 10 to Philly. My last mock I had him going 15 to Green Bay. He'll be the first one off the board. So I would love to seriously Gibbs in Detroit at 48. That would be a steal, but I could see it happening. I actually could see it happening. I really do. And listen, on that part, I'm going to wrap up. Look, I forgot who it was. I'm sorry. Listen, all my social media links are below. Follow me on social media. If you DM me, give me about a day, and I'll DM you back. Usually, I'm better than that, but it's been a little hectic. But usually I'm pretty good. All the comments, I try to answer all the comments. If you're somebody I don't know and you leave something shitty, I'm I don't have to accept it. There was a comment. One guy didn't like my not this mock draft, the draft below, and he left some stupid comments that made me lose IQ points. I left them on there. I don't mind if you disagree with me. I really don't. But if you insult me, I don't have to put you on there. But if you've been here for a while, Denver Gator, he insults me, I'm gonna let it go. Yeah, he earned a keys. Gooch, Luke G. All the guys have been with me for a long time. I love all you guys, and I'm really glad you guys like my mock draft. The new mock draft I'm gonna try to have on time. The last one, the editing took a little longer, so came out a couple hours late, but a lot of you guys liked it. So follow me on social media. If you haven't watched my mock draft video, the link's below. Check it out. I'll have the video out Tuesday, and I'll see you guys back Friday.